Hare Krishna. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradari Jai Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe Jaya Radha Gopinath Radha Gopinath Radhe Jai Jai Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Nitya Gaura Haribo 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 Nitya Gaura Haribo Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 7, entitled Further Inquiries by Vidura, text number 32 and 33. Dharmartha kama mokshanam Dharmartha kama mokshanam Nimittani avirodata Nimittani avirodata Vartaya danda nitascha Vartaya danda nitascha Shrutasya cha vidim pratak Shrutasya cha vidim pratak Dharmartha kama mokshanam Nimittani avirodataha Vartaya danda nitescha Shrutascha cha vidim pratak Dharmartha kama mokshanam Nimittani virodataha Vartaya danda nitescha Shrutasya cha vidim pratak Dharma, religiosity, Artha, economic development, Kama, sense gratification, Mokshanam, salvation, Nimittani, causes, Avirodataha, without being contradictory, Vartaya, on the principles of the means of livelihood. Dandanite, of law and order. Cha, also. Shrutashya, of the codes of the scriptures. Cha, also. Vidhim, regulations. Prithak, different. Translation. You may also describe the non-contradictory causes of religiosity economic development, sense gratification, and salvation. And also the different means of livelihood and different processes of law and order as mentioned in the revealed scriptures. We'll continue at 33 also. Shraddhasya cha vidhim brahman pitranam sargam eva cha graho nakshatra taranam kalavayava samsthitim. Please also explain the regulations for offering respects to the forefathers, the creation of the Pitraloka, the time schedule in the planets, stars and luminaries, and their respective situations. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. The time duration of day and night, as well as months and years, are different in different planets, stars and luminaries. The higher planets, like the Moon and Venus, have time measurements different from those of the Earth. It is said that 6 months of this planet Earth equals 1 day of the higher planets. In the Bhagavad Gita, the duration of 1 day in Brahmaloka is measured to be 1,000 times the 4 yugas, or 43 lakh years multiplied by 1,000. And the month and the year in Brahmaloka are calculated in that measure. Om Agyantimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshuronmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutaha Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Ragunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadotam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Shabhanu Shute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivas Adi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo Rama Ramo Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. I'd like to welcome all of you all to today's Bhagavatam class. We are discussing the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. And here specifically we're discussing Vidura's questions. So, Vidura is engaging in a conversation with Maitri Rishi and Uddhava eventually. So in these conversations, Vidura is asking a series of questions to all these great personalities. He first asks Uddhava a lot of questions, and then Uddhava directs him towards Maitri Rishi, feeling himself to be unqualified to speak to somebody as senior as Vidura and much older than him. And then Maitri Rishi and Vidura begin to have deep conversations, and Vidura asks so many questions regarding creation and so many other factors. Specifically in this particular verses, the two verses that we're seeing, the stress that is being given by Srila Prabhupada in his purport is on Vidura's one question of time. So Vidura is asking that he wants an elaborate description of how time works in this world. And in Sanskrit, the word that is used to describe time is known as Kala. Kala is not exactly time. The translation of Kala is not exactly time, So what Kala is, we're going to be seeing today in great detail. And what is the Vedic understanding of time and Vedic, perspective towards time, that's what we're going to be discussing. I'm going to be sharing a lot of deeper perspectives from Vyasdev, from the Mahabharata, and what are the verses specifically that Vyasa talks about in regards to time factor. So for those who are following the modern calendar and modern understanding of time, time is linear and time is practically one-dimensional. But in the Vedic culture, the Vedic scriptures, time is considered to be much more powerful than what is explained in the modern context. So, the Vedic culture assigns a lot of power to Kala. In fact, there are many things that a man cannot understand why something is happening to me in my life. And Vyasa uses the word Kala to describe many things that you don't understand what is happening to you in your life. All of us, at some point of time or the other, we go through different situations in our life. Somebody might just lose their job randomly, without any fault of theirs. Somebody might go through a prolonged duration of sickness, without any understanding of why it is happening and how it is happening. Modern science fails to explain what the whole thing is, and someday they become alright, and they don't know how they became alright, The relationship goes through phases of very, very intense crisis. You don't understand why two people who really appreciate and connect with each other are going through some things. The Vedic culture very interestingly gives this one word, Kala, as explanation to many of these factors that are unknown and unseen. And many times we blame people, saying that you caused me this problem in my life. You did this to me. Vyasdev, he very interestingly in the Mahabharata says, don't blame anybody. Kala is to be blamed. Kala is the cause of all this. Now, Vyasa speaks many verses in the Mahabharata about Kala. And I'm going to quote some of the verses from the Mahabharata and see how Kala has great influence in all our lives. And the reason we are seeing all these verses at this point in time, and the reason we are studying time, is to first of all develop respect for time. Especially in the land of India, it is very important to develop respect for time. Anytime I go for programs, invariably I have to keep half an hour, 1 hour extra, because nothing starts on time. No one reaches on time. And invariably, people do not understand how powerful time is. In that context, IST stands for Indian Stretchable Time. It also stands for ISKCON Stretchable Time. ISKCON has its own perspective to time. So considering all that, I thought it is apt to understand Kala and learn to develop some respect towards Kala. Kala Shrijanti Bhutani, Kala Samharate Praja, Samharantam Praja Kalam, Kala Samyate Puna. Vyasdev says that time creates all beings. Time destroys what is created. Destroying what is created, then time is pacified by time. Vyasdev is giving a googly, time is pacified by time means what? So with time, things become peaceful. Kalo hi kurute bhavan sarvaloke shubhan shubhan. Kala samshikta sarvan praja vishrijate puna. He says, time is a doer of all that happens in this world, of the good and the bad alike. Time contracts, time limits what is created, and time expands and sets free what is limited. So, if you see that a lot of the good and bad that happens in this world is allotted, is under the purview of time. And time has the ability to contract and expand. What does it mean? All of us have only 24 hours. It's not that we have more or less. But different people, the 24 hours work differently. For some people, 24 hours seems to be expanding. They're able to do so much in those 24 hours. For some people, 24 hours seems to be contracting. Before the, just begin the day, day is over. What we have done in the day, I don't know. It seems to be nothing has happened in one day, isn't it? So the ability of time to expand and contract is also mentioned by Vyasadeva here. Vyasadeva says, Kala supteshu jagrati, kalo hi durati krama, kala sarveshu bhuteshu, charati avridati samaha. He says, while everything sleeps, time keeps vigil. None can transgress the moment of time. Time moves within all beings equally, freely, with nothing to obstruct it. Whatever was in the past and whatever will come in the future and is now are all creations of time. Seeing this, do not lose your discriminating awareness. So basically what Vyasadeva is trying to say, so this discussion is between Vyasadeva and Yudhishthira Maharaj in the Mahabharata. And when especially Yudhishthira Maharaj is going through this very intense phase where he's blaming himself for all that has happened to them, and for the gambling match, for him participating in that gambling match, and for the Pandavas going through so much of pain. Yudhishthira is saying, I am the cause of all of that. And he's taken the whole blame on himself. Vyasadeva is saying, you are not the cause of anything. He's saying, Kala is running everything in this world. And Vyasadeva says, Kala moolam idam sarvam bhava bhavo sukha sukhe. Says everything is rooted in time. That which is and that which is not. Happiness and suffering alike. So essentially, whenever we go through anything in our life, we have to understand that there are factors beyond me that are the cause of what we are going through in our life. Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, he says this very famous verse. Sukha dukkha samakritva labha labha jaya jayo. So he says, one should look at all of these opposites with equanimity. So when Krishna speaks about not being elated by happiness and not being depressed by suffering, what Krishna is trying to tell is that please don't take it on yourself that you are the cause of your happiness, you are the cause of your success, you are the cause of a victory. And don't take it on yourself also that you are the cause of your failure, you are the cause of your suffering, and you are the cause of your defeat. What happens when we look at all these opposites from a personal point of view is that we get too affected by it. Vyasadeva says, in the same context that Bhagavad Gita Krishna speaks, he says, Sukham cha dukkham cha bhava bhavo cha labha labho maranam jivitam cha parayatao sarvam apnuvanti tasmad dhiro naiva hrishiyena sochet. He says, pleasure and pain, creation and destruction, gain and loss, life and death, these come to everybody in a cycle. And therefore, somebody who is of steady mind should not rejoice or grieve them. Essentially, Vyasadeva and Krishna, both of them speak about equanimity in extremes. if you go to different people's houses when they face death, the way they react to it is different. Some people, when somebody dies in the family, they react so hysterically. Everybody is wailing, crying their hearts out. It almost seems that their eyes are going to pop out, and so much of emotions are going on in that house. And then you go to somebody else's house, you'll find complete quiet, silence. Everybody's just thinking and trying to meditate, being grateful, thinking from a deeper perspective. How come the two different families, two different cultures are reacting to death differently? This is the way in which emotions are handled by different human beings. Those who have equanimity comes from knowledge. Those who have equanimity that stems from knowledge, their way of handling grief is with stability and calmness. That's the exact same way they deal with joy. If you see a person who is equanimous, you give that person a gold medal. You give that person, he wins a lottery ticket. That person wins the biggest competition of his life. Come back completely normal, as if nothing happened. Is he not happy? Obviously he is happy, but he understands that there are factors beyond me for what I have achieved, isn't it? So that knowledge, that equanimity keeps him stable and prevents him from overtly exhibiting emotions. And the same person, if he sees some loss, loses a big deal, or goes through a massive loss on the stock market, he talks about it as if nothing has happened. For somebody else, they would have been having a heart attack and being on the way to the hospital. But for this person, absolutely nothing, equanimous. And that is what Vyasadeva is trying to share with Yudhishthira Maharaj here. So like Yudhishthira, we tend to blame ourselves for what we go through in our life. We tend to blame others for what we go through in our life. We tend to blame God for what we go through in our life. Vyasa is saying, don't blame anybody. It is Kala who is responsible for what you're going through. And the interesting thing is that Vyasadeva does not just give a very negative way of looking at Kala. He builds it up. He says, out of time, one cannot gain even with intelligence and study what is of value. When time is right, even a fool attains wealth. Time is the ultimate equalizer in all results. So, what Vyasadeva is trying to say is that everyone has a right time in life. There is nobody in this world who does not have right time. I'm sure all of you all have experienced right time in your life, isn't it? When the time is right, so many good things happen to you. And when the time is wrong, so many bad things happen to you. And interestingly, nobody can help you when time is bad. And when time is good, nobody can prevent you from growing. Vyasa is telling Yudhishthira Maharaj this. He's saying, right now, your time is bad. And right now, Duryodhana's time is good. When your time is bad and when your time is good, you can't help it but experience good and bad. And then, Vyasadeva makes this very interesting statement. He says, Kalo hi karya prati niveshashe. He says, time is an equalizer. So now what is the meaning of time as an equalizer in all results? Essentially, one way of looking at it is that, time equalizes everybody. I mean, it brings everybody on the right platform. But another way of looking at it is that time as an equalizer means what? Every one of us will have good time and bad time in our life. Equal. Time is equal to everybody. Nobody can say, I only had bad time in my life. If somebody says, I only had bad time in my life, they're lying. And if somebody says, I only have good time in my life, they're also lying. So we all will experience good times and bad times in our life. So Vyasadeva says, when it is not the time for prosperity, neither skills, nor mantras, nor medicines bear fruit. And yet, in the right time, the same become fruitful and flourish due to the force of time. This is a very interesting verse. He says, Nabhuti kaleshu phalam dadanti, shilpani mantrascha tathau sadhani, taneva kalena samahitani, siddhyanti vardhanti cha bhuta kale. So he says, just look at this. Look at the way Vyasadeva is putting it. He says, when it is not the time for prosperity, neither your skills, nor mantras, nor medicines bear fruit. I'm sure all of you have experienced it, isn't it? You have the best of skills, the best of talents, the best of abilities. Nothing works. Take the best of medicines, doesn't work. You chant the best of mantras, nothing is happening. And then when the time is right, all of it starts working suddenly, So Vyasadeva is bringing us to our understanding that there is another way of looking at life. Don't only blame yourself. Don't only blame others. Don't only blame God. There are factors that beyond all of this that decide what you go through in your life. So he says, winds blow swiftly in time. Clouds shower rain in time. Lotuses bloom in water in time. Trees flourish in the forest at their destined time. And then he says, nights turn dark and bright according to time. The moon becomes full at its appointed time. Trees do not bear flowers and fruits out of season, nor do rivers flow fast before time. And he says, birth does not happen out of time. A child does not speak before time. Youth does not arrive before its due time. The seed does not sprout before the time is right. And then he says, the sun does not rise or set out of time. The moon neither waxes nor wanes before its course. And even the great ocean with its great waves does not surge without time. So the influence of time is there everywhere. In our own lives, if you observe very carefully, time has a great influence. There is a very beautiful story which brings out this extremely powerfully in terms of a conversation between Bali Maharaj and Indra. When Indra takes over Bali Maharaj, with the help of Vamanadev and Bali Maharaj has lost everything. He has lost everything. Sorry, this is much before Vamanadev. This is before the Durvas pastime and all. So when Indra loses everything, when Bali loses everything, and Bali is in a very dire state, at that time, Indra, who is the new Indra, is known as Shakra. So he takes over and comes to Bali Maharaj. And he starts a conversation with Bali. And this conversation between Bali and Indra is a very interesting conversation. Because Indra is in the mood of a winner. And Bali at this point is a loser. And here is a conversation between a winner and a loser. And Bali brings out some very interesting perspectives in this discussion with Indra. Indra says, Bali, you are now in the hands of your enemies. You lost everything. You just some time back, you owned the 3 worlds. But now, you are nothing. You have lost your wife, you lost your wealth, you lost all your kingdom, you lost your diamonds, your rubies, your gold, everything is lost. And he says, you used to be very generous in the past, now you can't even be generous because you have nothing with you. And Indra says, yet when I look at you, you don't seem to be crying. You don't seem to be in grief. You don't seem to be in pain that you have lost so much. So he says, Indra is asking Bali Maharaj, what is it that is making you so equanimous? What is it that is making you so stable in the midst of such a chaos? Is it your courage? Do you have a lot of guts inside you because of which you're so equanimous? Or, is it because you have done a lot of service to old and invalid people that you have become so strong and equanimous? Or is it because you did a lot of austerities in your life because of which you are so strong and equanimous? Or is it because you have great strength inside you because of which you can handle all adversity? Why and how do you not grieve? Indra is really wanting to ask Bali Maharaj. I'm sure all of us have been in situations like this, where we have broken down, where we have been on the verge of crying, desperate, that I've lost so much. And when we experience a bad news, when we experience a loss, these are emotions that come out. And here is Indra asking Bali, what is it that is making you so strong? If only Bali's answer can appeal to all of us and resonate in our own hearts, and we absorb from Bali, we can also handle our own life and our own negative situations, our own losses in a similar way. Bali Maharaj tells Indra, Shakra, he says, today you have all the power and I have none. And I see that you have got so much glory now and I have lost everything. But the fact is that some time back you didn't have anything, I had everything. So he says that a person who is superior, a man who is superior, that person should learn to see all of this as cyclic. Everything can change in a moment. Few moments back, I was exactly in your position. I was proud. I was arrogant. I had everything. And a few minutes later, everything is gone. He says, life is transitory. One moment here, and another moment is gone. So Bali Maharaj tells Indra, don't think you are the cause of your glory, nor am I the cause of my own misery. There is some other agency which is doing this change. So it's not your bravery, neither is it your effort. It is changing time that has caused this and made you Indra. And the same changing time has taken away everything from me. There was a time when I used to roar like you are roaring right now, with so much overconfidence. And I was the undisputed ruler of the whole world. But now, I have lost everything. So why should I grieve at my loss? If you ask me this question, everything is simply the play of time. It is futile to grieve, because grief will never undo what you have lost. And grief will only make a person even more weaker. So he says, when we understand that I am not the cause of my defeat, and when I understand that you are not the cause of your victory, then I become very stable and I become very equanimous. So the idea that Bali Maharaj is bringing out over here is the cause of all pain in our life is the thought that I am the doer. The moment I think that I am the doer, there is a lot of pain that comes in our life. Like say, for example, a child is answering an exam, and when the child fails in that exam, the child thinks that I am useless. But there are many factors beyond the child's effort that is involved in the exam, isn't it? So many factors are involved when a child answers an exam. The only thing that the child can do is put best effort. After the child puts the best effort, then what happens is not exactly in your hand. Even your own ability to retain information is not in your hand. Can anybody say that I can retain very good information? No. There are some people who read things once, they remember forever. And there are some people 10 times, 20 times you read, you don't remember anything. Are you the cause of it? Is your effort lacking? Not necessarily. There are factors beyond that is involved in you putting those efforts. And I'm sure all of you have experienced it. Some exams you answer, not preparing only, you get very good marks. And some exams you put so much effort, you get nothing. Same thing with work. Where anybody does so much and get nothing out of it. And suddenly, you don't push much and you get so much out of it. Whom do you blame? And whom do you, accept as the cause? So Bali is telling Indra that with the change of time, you will also fall, like I did. And there are hundreds of Indras like you that will come and go. You are simply one of them. And simply thinking that I am the cause of my victory is only going to make you arrogant. And thinking that I am the cause of my defeat is only going to make me miserable. Bali Maharaj tells Indra, from this point of view, that there is no one who can defy time. Only thing you can do is become submissive to time. When Krishna returns back to the spiritual world, and especially after the curse of Gandhari, the entire Yadava clan is destroyed right in front of Krishna's eyes. And after the whole Yadava clan is destroyed, then Krishna hands over the charge of his wives to Arjun. And Arjun is trying to bring them from Dwarka to Hastinapur. And on the way, the entourage of Arjun gets attacked by some forest dwellers. And these forest dwellers, from the Nishada tribe, they attack Arjun's entourage and they kidnap all the queens of Dwarka. And Arjun, he has a Gandiva bow in his hand, but he has forgotten all the mantras to release. The same Gandiva bow is in his hand. He is trying to shoot arrows, but the mantras that are going to empower the arrows are not coming out only. He is not able to remember only one single mantra. The same Arjun single-handedly defeated entire Kaurava army in the Virat battle. The same Arjun who defeated thousands and thousands of people on one day while he was chasing Jayadratha. The same Arjun in front of people from the forest. These are not very highly equipped warriors. They are simple forest dwellers. And in front of those forest dwellers, his Gandiva didn't work. Arjun is heartbroken. And he comes to Vyasdev and he's crying. He doesn't know how to handle the fact that I lost, all the queens of Dwaraka. I couldn't save them. My Gandiva didn't work. At that time, Vyasdev tells Arjun, the work for which you were given your empowerment is over. Now it is time for you to depart. He tells Arjun, each and every one of us are empowered for a certain duration of time. After that duration of time, when the reason for your empowerment is over, that power is taken away from you. And when that power is taken away from you, however powerful you are, at some point you have to retire from limelight. You have to retire from, visibility and go into a more state of meditativeness. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you see the kind of empowered preaching that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did. Throughout his journey in South India and throughout his preaching in Bengal, throughout his preaching in Jagannath Puri, but at a certain point in his life, he withdrew. And he went into a state of complete absorption and personal samadhi. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, the most powerful acharya in the world, at some point, Bhaktivinoda Thakur withdrew. The last few years of his life, he spent in seclusion. It's not that he couldn't have preached in those few years of his life. But at a certain point, he completely withdrew, understanding that my time has come. Unfortunately, for a lot of us, especially in today's corporate world and in today's world of politics, people just don't want to retire. People just don't want to give up. People just don't want to understand that Kala changes. Time factor withdraws its empowerment. And desperately they're trying to be relevant. Desperately they're trying to hold on to power. Desperately they're trying to hold on to positions. When you are not needed anymore, when you do not have the power anymore, your skills, your talents, your abilities, everything just completely is taken away. Krishna has given it to you for a purpose, and after you achieve that purpose, it's taken away from you. It neither belongs to you, nor will it ever belong to you. It was not created by you. It was not, trained by you. It was given to you for a cause. All of us, at some point of time, we will find the influence of time in our lives. And when that happens, being respectful and withdrawn is intelligence. Dhritarashtra, when he is, after the death of all the Kauravas, Vidura comes to Dhritarashtra and tells him, "What are you doing sitting here? Everything is finished for you." Dhritarashtra, at that point of time also, he was acting like a king. He was wearing the royal clothes, he was wearing the royal crown, he was acting like a king. Vidura comes and gives him such horrible, bad words just to shake him up. Tells him, "What are you doing? You are only in your mind a king. Nobody considers you a king anymore. Sometime you stop thinking now that you are a king." What is the meaning of king? A king is a position of respect, isn't it? We all have this thought in our mind that we are kings in a particular situation, When the situation changes, you are no more the king. But unfortunately, in our mind, we are still kings. You could be a brahmachari, you could be a grahastha, you could be a counselor, you could be at any position, So this idea of being a king, you could be a CEO in a company, you could be a teacher in an institution or college, you could be, at any position. Somehow, this feeling that I am the king is there. Even if somebody is a beggar, I am a king of a group of beggars. So this whole idea of being in charge, being in control, being in power is something that is inbuilt in all of us. And obviously, at a particular time, we get to exhibit it also. We get to experience it also. We get to feel it also. But when time changes, you realize that it's no more with you. That empowerment, that strength is not with you anymore. Somebody else will take over. Somebody else will do that role. Somebody else will take over that position. Somebody else will take over that responsibility. And when somebody else takes over that responsibility, it's time to withdraw. It's time to understand that my time is over. Let me go and focus on something else. Let me go and do something else. And when I do it with dignity, it's beautiful. But when I do it out of force, it is very ugly. In the case of Dhritarashtra here, he is trying to hold on to something that is gone already. And Vidura, he pushes him and tells him to get out. And that's the whole idea behind respecting time. So when the first level of understanding is that time is powerful. I need to respect it. Second thing is, time is powerful. I need to value it. I need to use it. There's a very beautiful story of Lomash Rishi. Now, Lomash Rishi, for those who understand, he is the oldest person in creation, literally. And he is so old and so wise. It is explained that Lomash Rishi has unlimited, lifetime. And when one single hair from his body falls out, that time, he will live for so many cosmic ages, and then finally one hair falls out from his body. And as many hair on his body are there, that many yugas, that many cycles he will live for. So Lomash Rishi, and his body from top to bottom is covered with unlimited number of hair. And Lomash Rishi's one hair falls out. Hundreds and thousands of years pass. So here, during the exile of the Pandavas, they meet Lomash Rishi. And, at this point in time, all the Pandavas are in their worst phase of life. And during the worst phase of life, Lomash Rishi comes and speaks to them. And one of the things that Lomash Rishi tells them, of the many things that he tells, is that time is vast. Now when Lomash Rishi speaks that really means, he really understands what he's speaking, right? There's no end for him only, literally. And he says, even the longest suffering is simply a blink of an eye when it comes to the time of the universe. When we are going through suffering, we think that there is no end only to this suffering. Please remember, it is only one blink in the universe. 10 years of suffering is simply one blink. So somebody who's actually going through this, because they're going through this in very close proximity, they feel that I'm suffering so much. But Lomash Rishi is helping us pull out. He's telling the Pandavas, what y'all are experiencing 13 years? Nothing. For me, 13 years is nothing. And compared to the universal time, 13 years is nothing. And he gives them a higher perspective of looking at time. And Lomash Rishi tells the Pandavas that don't worry about the time that you are experiencing suffering. Rather than suffer this time, utilize this time and value this time to do things that are useful to you. And Lomash Rishi, he inspires Yudhishthira Maharaj and all the Pandavas to travel around the forest, around the different holy places and upgrade themselves. All of us in our lives, we will go through a down phase. And I can guarantee you that. Each and every one of us will go through a down phase. The down phase could be in the form of a bad health phase, where you are literally on bed for days together. The down phase could be in the form of a loss of job. The down phase could be in the form of not having anything to do. It could be in so many things. When you go through a down phase, Lomash Rishi's advice is wonderful. When you go through a down phase, upgrade yourself. That is the time to read more books. That is the time to gain more knowledge. That is the time to acquire a new skill. That is the time to learn new things, to upgrade yourself spiritually, upgrade yourself materially, upgrade yourself in every way possible. Instead of suffering the down phase, it is time to upgrade yourself in the down phase. And Lomash Rishi inspires the Pandavas by saying these 13 years are nothing in compared to the bigger aspect of time. But value this time and utilize this time well. And when Lomash Rishi is inspiring us to value the time, utilize the time well, what does he really mean? Lomash Rishi teaches us to be patient and zoom out when life feels heavy. And to trust the universe, that the universe has a bigger clock than you can see. Your clock is a very tiny clock. The universal clock is a much bigger clock. And therefore, what feels like endless time is only one page in a very big book. So for you, that page is your life literally. But actually from the universal point of view, this page is nothing. It's just one moment in Brahma's lifetime, which is practically 311 trillion, 20 billion years, is one breath of Mahavishnu. Mahavishnu breathes in, 100 years of Brahma is over, which is for us, 311 trillion, 20 billion years, one breath of Vishnu, that's all. And when we understand that, I think we will really be able to appreciate and value time a lot more. Many years back, one devotee came to me and he asked me, how do you get time to do so much? And I don't know how, I just spontaneously spoke something. I said, I don't look at time in hours. I look at time in minutes. And I feel even now, I resonate with that point a lot, because the fact is that time is same for everybody. But how much we value it, it depends. There was a time when I used to think that I will read for 1 hour. And I used to wait for a 1 hour slot to do good reading. But today I realized I cannot wait for a 1 hour slot, because it will never happen if I wait for a 1 hour slot. Because there are too many things happening in life. So if I get 2 minutes, I read. If I get 1 minute, I read. And so basically we have to start valuing every moment of our time. Rather than thinking that I will spend, certain chunks of time doing a particular task. Even if we get few minutes of time, we can do that task. In those few minutes also we can gain something. And that's the way we need to understand. And that is why Krishna says in the Gita, Kalosmi Bharatarshava. He says, I am time. Why does Krishna say, I am time? And Krishna also says in the Gita, Ye ye tamam prapadyante tam taseva bhajamyaham. He says, according to the way you reciprocate with me, I will reciprocate with you. If you reciprocate in a particular way, I will also reciprocate in a particular way. So what does it mean if you look at both these verses together? If you look at both these verses together, it simply means one thing. If you value time, time values you. If you value Krishna, Krishna will value you. So when we start respecting every moment of our time as non-different from Krishna, when we start looking at every moment of our time as non-different from Krishna, that will actually become so much a part of our life. Unfortunately, the reality is that we don't value time so seriously. How many hundreds of minutes are wasted in simply waiting for someone? Especially I see how ISKCON meetings work. A particular time is given, and then at that time nobody turns up. Everybody is waiting for half an hour, 40 minutes, very patiently. Lot of time is there to wait, And then suddenly the meeting starts, and the meeting goes on for 2 hours. No conclusions. First of all, the meeting doesn't start with an agenda also. It goes on, and then it ends also with no conclusion. So the idea of time is so valuable. If we as devotees don't realize it, who is going to realize it? When Krishna is saying, Kalos me, and we as devotees, we don't respect Krishna in the form of time, how will Krishna expand in our life? And if we don't respect Krishna, Krishna is not going to respect us. If we don't respect time, time is not going to respect us. And therefore, it is very, very important for us to start learning to appreciate and respect and value time and utilize every moment of our time, understanding this moment belongs to Krishna. And this moment is valuable because it is given to me by Krishna. And in the context of our whole life, it is simply one moment. I'll end with a very beautiful story that is very inspiring and that really helps us understand the influence of Krishna's time factor in our life. There's a devotee who lived many hundreds of years before, and in his village, he observed one person, his activities, and he observed this person's name was Kandalan. This person, he started behaving in a very evil way. A lot of greed developed into him. So all his relatives came to this devotee and told him that, this person's greed has gone so far. He's acting like a maniac. He's not at all himself. So this devotee, so all the relatives of this man were very concerned about him, and they asked him, is there any solution? Is there any way you can help him? This devotee took this man to a temple. And he said, I will offer a prayer here, just stand here. And when I offer the prayer, you stand here with your eyes closed, your hands folded, and just absorb in the words that I'm going to speak. So he brought him in front of the altar of Lord Vishnu. And in the altar of Lord Vishnu was Sudarshan Chakra of the Lord. And this devotee started offering prayers, glorifying the Sudarshan Chakra. And he offered so many amazing prayers, glorifying the greatness of the Sudarshan Chakra and the glory of the Sudarshan Chakra. And as this devotee was offering prayers, glorifying Sudarshan Chakra and all its glories, all its qualities, the Sudarshan Chakra of the Lord started turning. Usually the Sudarshan Chakra of the Lord turns clockwise. But here, the Sudarshan Chakra of the Lord started turning anti-clockwise. And as he was offering prayers, the Sudarshan Chakra of the Lord is turning in the anti-clockwise direction. And as it turned in the anti-clockwise direction, it came to a particular point and stopped. And suddenly this man who was standing next to him, he was a transformed person. Completely transformed. He was rid of all the greed that he had in his heart and all anarthas that he had in his heart. And then the relatives of this man asked him, what did you do? What made him transform so quickly? And this devotee made a very beautiful statement. He made a very beautiful comment. He said, Krishna is time factor. I simply offered prayers to Sudarshan Chakra. And the Sudarshan Chakra of the Lord, see, when the Lord Sudarshan Chakra turns, Kala is turning. So the Sudarshan Chakra of the Lord represents the Kala, time factor. It's a wheel of time, we say, right? So Krishna turned the Sudarshan Chakra backwards. So the Sudarshan Chakra reached that point in time in his life when he was a good man, when his heart was clean, and he stopped there. So that means this person got transported back to his times when he was pure in his heart. And he went through a heart transformation and he regained back his purity. For all of us, time only moves forward. But for Krishna, time is not linear. Time is cyclic. Krishna can cycle backwards, he can move forward, he can move in any direction. And that's why when we take shelter of Krishna, when we take shelter of the Supreme Lord, who is Kala himself, any astrologer will tell you this. If you go to any astrologer, one of the things genuine astrologers ask you is, are you a devotee of Krishna? And if they understand that you are a devotee of Krishna, they say, you are in a different zone. You are in a different, you don't fall under the normal astrological predictions. I can look at your chart and make some predictions, but there is some other direction, somebody else who is influencing your life, and you take shelter of him only. Any genuine astrologer will direct you back to Krishna's lotus feet only, because he is Kala. So when we understand that, we will understand the value of Krishna's presence in our life, the value of how Krishna is influencing our life in so many ways that we can't even imagine. What we go through in our life, we may think it is suffering, but actually Krishna has reduced it so much already, simply because we are his devotees. And when we understand this, we first learn to respect time, then we learn to value and utilize time well, and then we learn to see time as Krishna himself. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
ब्रह्मदेवाय नमः। तुम निसंदेही महाबलशाली हो। मेरे भाई का हत्यारा आज भी जीवित है।
यदि विष्णु से लड़ना है, ब्रह्मदेव की उपासना करो।
ब्रह्मदेवाय नमः।
हिरण्यकश्यप, मांगो, क्या वर मांगना चाहते हो?
सब कुछ। हे ब्रह्मदेव, मुझे वरदान दीजिए कि आपकी रचना से जन्मे इस सृष्टि के किसी भी जीव से मेरा वध ना हो, न मैं दिन में मरूं और न रात में। मेरी मृत्यु न घर के भीतर हो और न घर के बाहर, न अस्त्र से, न शस्त्र से, न सजीव से, न निर्जीव से।
अंधकार जब हद से बढ़ जाता है, वहाँ प्रकाश का पुनर्जन्म होता है।
प्रहलाद, माँ, मैं तब तक भगवान विष्णु का गुणगान करता रहूंगा जब तक सारे भक्त मुक्त न हो जाएं। एक नाम से सबकी मुक्ति है।
पुत्र, विष्णु का परित्याग कर।
मैं भगवान विष्णु को अपना शत्रु कदापि नहीं मानता।
भगवान को छोड़ दो।
मैं प्रहलाद को मृत्यु दंड देता हूँ।
हम असुर हैं, असुर। ये सब तुच्छ खेल हमारे गुरुकुल में शोभा नहीं देता है।
वे जैसा चाहे वैसा मेरे साथ कर सकते हैं, क्योंकि वे हर परिस्थिति में मेरे स्वामी हैं।
तो बुलाओ सर, आज ये निर्णय हो जाए कि हम दोनों के बीच गीदड़ कौन है और सिंह कौन है।